It's been an eventful week for Manchester United. They had the derby win on Saturday, and then of course that frustrating draw at Crystal Palace on Wednesday night. There's been developments off the pitch as well in regards to the sale of the club. Now, to discuss all that, I'm delighted to be joined by Sky Sports' Gary Neville. Gary, first of all, your reaction to that late Palace equaliser last night?
Oh, I was massively disappointed. Obviously, sat at home watching it. How loud's this music here, by the way? Yeah, I was massively disappointed. At 1-0 in any Premier League game, or in any game of football, you know that can happen. Crystal Palace kept going. Manchester United never really saw the game off. They weren't clinical enough and ruthless enough. And I was just frustrated at the end. I mean, David De Gea had an unbelievable night, but literally as the camera panned behind the free kick and I saw that there was 3 in the wall. It's quite a small wall. And I thought that they'd set up for a wide free kick. I just thought there was a lot of the goal that they could see, and it was a wonderful free kick. But I thought Manchester United could have defended that situation better and made it more difficult.
Because they'd won 9 in a row before that game. It felt like the momentum was with them. It just sometimes goes like that, I guess, at Selhurst Park. Not an easy place to go. What was the main thing that went wrong, do you think, for them last night, though?
Oh, I mean, it happens, and like you say, they've been on an incredible run. And if you said before Saturday's game against City that Manchester United would take 4 points out of these 2 games, they'll snap your hand off. So, and in some ways, it's a good return, and you can't be too disappointed with where Manchester United were a few months back. But, I mean, sometimes in a game, they weren't as fluid as they have been. I think that the game just drifted for periods, long periods. And if you let games drift, then sometimes you can end up in a situation whereby you can get caught. And I think that maybe happened to a little bit to City on Saturday. You know, City were 1-0 up. I don't think they played well first half against United. And with United still in the game, they got caught late on and the bloody nose. So it can happen in football, but you know, you've got to see games off, you've got to be ruthless. But Manchester United have done really well this last few months, but it was just a big disappointment. Obviously, Casemiro getting booked as well was obviously ahead of Sunday's a massive blow, because he's been pivotal to them.
Yeah, we saw Erik ten Hag shaking his head when that yellow card came out.
Well, I was at home. Every Man United fan was. They were all sort of like, oh no. It was the one thing that we'd been, obviously before the game, you know, I thought Casemiro would play. I didn't buy into this idea that he would be rested because Crystal Palace are too good a team and he's so important. But I mean, it wasn't a great challenge either, to be fair. It could have been probably an orange, nearer to a red than a yellow. But look, it happens. You know, Manchester United have got to pick it up now for Sunday. Massive game against Arsenal. Arsenal are in great form, so it should be really good Sunday still. But you know, just a little bit of a blip. It was a big week for United, but I say 4 points before the Manchester derby, I'd have said no problem. But obviously, having won the derby and then been 1-0 up in the 90th minute, it's just disappointing.
Yeah, so that huge game on Sunday against Arsenal, 2 teams who've got a history of Premier League title races. How do they go there and beat Arsenal again? Because they're the only team who have beaten Arsenal in the Premier League this season without Casemiro. What do they need to do at the Emirates?
Well, they beat them without Casemiro last time. They're going to have to beat the best. They're going to have to defend well, particularly in the first half an hour. Arsenal are electric. But they don't have a great bench, Arsenal. So you would imagine when you've got through that first period of the game, what you're going to face is what you're going to face later on in the game as well. They had that problem against Newcastle, who defended really well against them. But Arsenal are in great form, massive, you know, huge confidence, massive favourites for the game now, particularly Casemiro out. So United have got to hang in there for the first part of the game, build some confidence, and they are dangerous. United, they are dangerous on the counter attack. They've got good forwards.
And if they get a result, are they still in this title race?
I don't think they'll win the title, United. I've said before, I think City will win the title. But, you know, City have got to prove tonight. We're here against Tottenham. You know, are they a little bit bored pre-Christmas, post-Christmas? They've not woke up yet. Give themselves, kick up the backside and get going. Are Arsenal a pacemaker? Or is it really a disappointing season for City where they drop below the standard? Arsenal just exceptional and go ahead with it. We're going to find out in this next couple of months. But I would expect City to win tonight. I would expect City to win against Wolves on Sunday. But now I think with Casemiro injured for United, I'd also expect Arsenal to win. So we've got a hell of a title race coming up. Arsenal are in great form. And they're playing great football. It's just whether the squad's big enough to be able to cope with it. They've still got 20 games left, 19, 20 games left.
And in terms of the bigger picture at United, we've seen Sir Jim Ratcliffe this week say that he's going to bid for the club, try and take ownership of the club from the Glazers. What do you make of that news?
I think he's been relatively sort of, through his PR team probably for the last 4 or 5 months. The main thing is that, the main thing is that the Glazers leave as quickly as possible. And the second thing is that whoever takes over, if they could, hand it over to people who are in good hands, who've got some sort of feeling for the club, that would be great. Jim Ratcliffe, obviously, was born in Manchester and, knows the area. If he wins it, I think there'll be a lot of very happy Manchester United fans, because I think that he would want to do the right thing by the club. In fact, I'm sure he would. And I'm hopeful that that's the main thing. Beyond the Glazers leaving, that they don't hand it over to another. I don't think United can afford to be with another investment fund that are expecting a return on the money. That's what worries me a little bit about this sort of private equity coming into football, is that ultimately they're looking for a return on their money and a return on their investment. And if that's the case, it could mean that ultimately United aren't in a similar position to say what this club are here, or Newcastle or other clubs who have benefactors who, to be fair, are willing to live with debt-free, not have interest payments, not leverage the club. And Manchester United need a debt-free football club with someone who's willing to obviously put money into it. Now, the problem is the price that they're going to pay for it is going to be big. So you're going to have deep pockets. So, whether Jim's going to need to bring people in with him or not, I don't know. But I'm hopeful that that can happen. But it could be any number of buyers. It's obviously not just going to be Jim Ratcliffe bidding for this club. And the main thing is that they do the right thing. I think I'd like to see the criteria set for what a new owner of Manchester United looks like. I said that before. Debt-free, making sure they invest in the facilities, the infrastructure, the training ground, the stadium, making sure they put money into the football project. I think they're really important things. The fan experience, fan involvement, they're really important things as part of a manifesto that I would like to see the Glazers be a little bit more transparent about, but we're not going to get that, I don't think. They're going to go to the highest bidder. I just hope that highest bidder has got the club, not just the financial sense of the club, in terms of obviously they're putting a lot of money in, so they're going to need to make it work, but actually they're seeing it as not just something that they can flip in 3 years for $1 billion more, because if that's the case, I think it'll be quite difficult, it'll be quite cutthroat.
And what's the priority for that new owner, do you think?
Pardon?
What's the priority for that new owner? We're here at the Etihad, they've invested in personnel, players, infrastructure.
The priority for the new owners has to be winning. A winning football club, a winning Manchester United is difficult to stop. We've seen that in the past. At that point, Manchester United become a very dangerous football club if they've got significant new investment and they're winning. So the priority has to always be football performance. Then you're talking about fan experience, which means the stadium's got to be world class, and the stadium's not world class at this moment in time. It falls behind many stadiums that you come to. So I think that there's an investment in the team to get it winning, and an investment in the actual facilities and the fan experience. For me, that would be something that would be the two priorities for the football club owners that come in.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating story over the coming months. Who buys Manchester United? Who the potential buyers could be as well, as the Glazers appear to be ready to sell up. We'll be following that story on Sky Sports, of course, and we'll be following Man United's trip to Arsenal on Sunday, 4:30. Make sure you don't miss it.